Hello, everyone, and today I'm going to give a summary of the lectures so far for the past 20 or something. These videos or audios are intended for the quick response or use by people who need to know my system but don't know Chinese. So for those either professionals or fans who really want to know quickly what is going on here. So that's the purpose of making these videos or audios. So if you want to know the details, you cannot get a lot from these talks because they are pretty rough and not detailed, and maybe I hate some points and say something about it if I remember, and it's not very systematic, I admit. So it's just a very sketchy outline of what is in the book. If you really want to know, you have to know to read the book, and that's basic of it. The problem is the two books roughly containing 800,000 Chinese characters. If I translate them, it will be equal to around maybe 2 million in English characters, and so far I haven't had time to do it, and also I suspect my English is not that good to translate the way I want it. So I was trying to get somebody to do it, or to seek some help. But so far, for several years, I haven't found anybody. From the content, we can know its requirement are very profound. Very many. You have to know philosophy, the Western one and the Eastern one. You have to know the language, the English and the Chinese. You have to know some science. You have to have some background, because I had a background to be a graduate of the philosophy of science for a few years when I was at college. You have to also understand some other related stuff, and like a cultural. You have to have a wide interest. In other words, I think only the part of learning the language, either you are from the West or from the East, to learn the other side's language is hard enough, and to learn the philosophy of the other side, especially the Western one, if you want to know systematically, it's terribly difficult, because they have some big guys, big figures like Hegel, like Heidegger, that will beat most of the professionals, even if you are a philosopher yourself, but hardly anybody can say they know it. And for example, I read Bertrand Russell's The History of Western Philosophy, and from that chapter, he talks about the Hegel. I know he doesn't understand it. So in this point, with this saying, there's a Chinese philosopher in Wuhan University, maybe. He said something like, in the Western philosophy, if you pass Hegel, you basically can pass anybody, because he is considered the most difficult. I quite agree with him. I think his name is Mr. Deng Xiaomang, and so I quite agree with him on this point. And so you have to have understanding of the entire system before you can understand this instancology and absolutology. I'm sure of it. If you don't know many meanings or what's content, what's the big deal about it? It's hard to say. It's really you cannot get a lot, and so I know that one. And in English speaking world, to only the one thing to understand Hegel is hard enough. It will beat 99% of the professors, the philosophers, in all over the world. I'm sure of that, and so it's a very hard thing. But anyway, and if somebody can invent it, I think we can learn it, right? That's basic, right? We are human beings, right? What's the big difference? It shouldn't be that big, right? Okay. That's something off the topic. Well, now I want to give a roughly outline or summary about what I have talked about for the previous 20 videos and audios, and what I'm going to talk about. Well, I mean, if I have time, if other people still need it, ask me to provide more. But if I have time, I intend to talk about it. Try to be in detail, but don't expect it. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, I gave you a rough outline about what this instancology should be. And first, I want to say, well, I mark it as 0. Okay, what your system offers to the world, the question audience will ask. Okay, I want to say what this system, instancology, offers is the worldview, is absolutism. Well, if you want to use the word ism, it's absolutism. So you should have, after you understand this system, you should have the view of absolutism, okay? As what it is, well, it's up to how much you understand it, okay? So for person, for individual, what kind of value system you should have? You should have the identity of I want to be an absolutist. Absolutist. That means you understand this system. It's the same thing as absolutism, right? That's a worldview. That's worldview. But as a person, you want to be an absolutist, okay? And as to some related part I mentioned in the past, this system basically answers 7 related questions. I summarize at 7, maybe a little bit, a few more, at least 7. And they are the big one, what's the nature of cosmology? The small one, what's the nature of quantum mechanics? The third one, what's the nature of knowledge? A lot of people say, why we can understand the things? Why? Even Einstein wonders it. And okay, so that is the nature of knowledge. Why our knowledge is identical or is trustworthy. Okay, that's a point. Okay, the fourth one is what's the nature of artificial intelligence or computers, software. Okay, it's AI. Okay, what's the nature of it? Okay, so this is 4. Another one is what's the nature of language? What's the use of language? That's 5, right? Okay, what else? The big one, the small one, the nature of language. Okay, what's the nature of free will? Why do you say you have free will? How do you say that? That's 6. What's the last one? And let me think. 2 big one, 2 small one. Language, free will. Well, what's the last one? Okay, I suddenly cannot remember it. But anyway, in the comments you can find it. There are 7 of them, I remember. Okay? All right. That's 0. Okay. Next one is I mark it 0.1. In this new system, as Quine said, in the new paradigm, it should have new vocabulary, okay? I introduced quite a few vocabularies, but don't worry, it's not as many as Heidegger did, okay? I only use the minimum. I try my best not to be too fastidious about this. If I can use the old one, I use the old one. If I can get a similar meaning, I won't create a new one. Only when it's absolutely necessary, okay? Okay, the new vocabulary I created include instancology, absolutology, prime matter, thought being, primary instance, what else? Some higher instance, thought instance, things like that. Not a lot, but mostly are combination words. You can understand it, okay? At least you can guess the meaning. So the second part is this new vocabulary. The third part is to have a summary of the philosophy, remember? This instancology always says it's an inheritance to philosophy. That is, to instancology, philosophy is a classic philosophy, okay? To summarize it, to know the meaning, summarize the idea of each philosopher in a few sentences or even in one sentence, that's the best, okay? That's how this system looks back at history. Of course, if you don't understand it, you cannot summarize into one sentence. That need to be very precise and correct, okay? So that's basically what it does. Briefly saying that, after you summarize it, you have to, through new understanding, from point of instancology to the old, to the classic philosophy, okay? So instancology basically divided all the philosophical thoughts, the big guys, whoever's ideas, into 4 categories. That is, well, first 2, from discard into 2, okay? Mental, physical, okay? From there. Then from the mental part, there's another two parts. Okay, first, I say from the physical part, it goes to science, natural science, okay? Now we leave that part to the physicists, to the scientists. Let's go up to the mental part. The mental part is divided into 2. One is thought, one is feeling, okay? Or psychology, whatever it is. Then each of these 2 divided into another 2, okay? Thought divided into form and content, the feeling divided into will, desire, / psychology or feeling, okay? The will is mostly related to actions, and desire some actions related. It's more intensive, okay? Psychology or feeling it's remained like a static, just something you feel, you be aware of it, okay? For the other part, the form and the content of the thoughts. Form means normally languages, okay? If you discuss language, it is related to the form, okay? If you discuss the content, that means something like ethics or even ontology should belong. They belong to this part too, okay? That's basic division. All right. Next one, that's I call it number 2, it's the absolute. And in the past 20 videos, I talked most about about them? The absolute. That absolute is the big absolute, okay? Remember, there are three. There's a big one. There are two small ones in your brain, okay? Okay, that's a part. The next one is, number three, is relative part. Relative, remember the little worm thing going on, eventually around the system and goes out to absolute, that graph I draw. And relative is everything inside it, okay? When absolute creates something or cause something happen, it must be the absolute. Absolute equals something, equals 1, equals mathematics, equals law, okay? Logic, I mean. So the 3 something 1 limited belongs to relative, okay? It has 2 dimensions. That's mathematics, and logic, okay? Remember that part. Okay, and from now on, we'll deal mostly with the relative part. I will stress most about this, all right? Okay, number 4 is the relation of IA, instancology and epistemology, with philosophy. What's the relationship of the two? Okay, basically it will say how to understand this. Yeah, how do you, for example, how do you put Kierkegaard's thought and Nietzsche's thought or Schopenhauer's thought put into system with Hegel's or with Kant's, with Wittgenstein's, with Bertrand Russell's? How do you feel they are in the system? That's called, I call it, shed some new lights to it, to understand it, philosophy as a system. Okay? I used to get confused too, to tell the truth in the past. All right, next one, I call it 4.5. It's called relationship of IA with each other. That is, what's the relationship between instancology and absolutology? All right? Yeah, so we'll talk about that. That's a big part too. Okay. Next one is 4.6. We will talk about the relative part. That's first thing is the instance. Okay. The key idea is it's a function. Function function will make facts, will make a case, will make the world as subsistence of it. Okay, so function supersedes everything else. Okay, so relative is a function. Actually, the absolute is function too. Otherwise, our world, the relative, won't be created. Okay, but here I stress the function part. Okay, function. So that's the relationship between relative and absolute too. Okay, that's 4.6. Okay, next one is 4.7. That's a major point. Is we'll talk the 2 minor absolutes. That's the right half and the left half hemisphere of our brain. They are both absolute. What about them, and what's the relationship of them? Things like that. Okay, that's I call it 4.7. This is a little bit big. Maybe I should separate right half and the left half, make it another one. But anyway, remember this includes 3 parts. Each part and the relation of it. Okay. Okay. Next, 4.8. We should talk about the relation of right half and left half functionally. Oh, okay. This is sort of a supplement to the above 4.7 functionally. What's a function? All right. We are not psychologists. We are not medical people. Okay. We are not neuron scientists. So we don't talk biology. Okay. We talk philosophy. What function should be? Okay. From the philosophical point of view, that's a point. Okay. Okay. Next point is here in my notes is number 6. Okay, We'll talk about 5 dimensions, okay? 5 dimensions, I mentioned it before. They are time, space. Now, maybe you can consider one as Einstein did. And the other 3 is mathematics, logic, and the last one is psychology. That is from the human being's point of view, okay? Next is number 7. We talk about the relationship, okay? We have a relationship of RR, ARRA, and what's that, AA, and then things like that. The relative, the absolute, relative, absolute, absolute, relative, absolute, absolute, relative, things like that, okay? Number 8 is the 2 worlds, and I mentioned in the past, one is the macro world, MICRO, the other is the macro world, MACRO, and the 2 principles guiding each world. One is movement is everything, that's a micro world, MICRO. The other one is a macro world, that's the matter is everything, okay? The 2 basic laws, okay? Number 9 is the methodology, all right? Methodology for Instancology, that's 2 plus 1, okay? This one need to be expanded in detail, okay? Number 10 is the 3 principles. One is regeneration, another is uncertainty of thoughts, the third one is how can I say that? Going opposite of the 2 after separation. It's awkward translation, but the basic idea is when one thing divided into 2, each goes its own way to the extreme. Okay, that's basically the principle. Okay, so 3 principles. Next one, number 11, the 2 ethic values or cores of Instancology. One is a value, the other one is a movement, move. Okay, that means, let's say for a human being, you have to have value in your life. Okay, because you are something. Okay, remember you have function. If you don't have function, you got problem. You don't have value, you got problem. Another one is a move. You cannot sit there like a Buddhist, okay? That's not good. You have to move. Otherwise, because you are moved by nature, okay? I stress this part. So it's 2 core values. That's number 11, okay? I think basically I round up this talk. That's all the major points I will expand in future, okay? So I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.